It fits.
The Big Short.
So The Big Short was originally based on a book, same man who did Moneyball and The Blind Side, 2 films that I really want to see. And it's, if you know the general gist of it, it is about the 2008 banking crisis. And I'll get to the plot in a second. But the main thing is, this is an incredibly complex plot, and they've managed to do it. They've managed to exclaim what was an extremely complicated topic in the best way possible, because this could have left a lot of people confused and sort of just out of the loop in regards to what was going on, but they've managed to do extremely well. So Adam McKay has been given a nomination for Best Director, and the film has been given a nomination for Best Film, so you knew it was going to be good. But basically, it's the follow-up. It's the first 2 years leading up to the housing market crash, and we're following Christian Bale's character, who has noticed a pattern in the housing mortgage trend, and he thinks that everything is going to go to pot, so he starts shorting the housing markets essentially and hedging his bets on the stocks, and everyone thinks he's a lunatic because he thinks that the housing market is a safe investment and it's never going to crash. It's a safe place for money, but he knows it's going to go down. And as time progresses, more and more people figure this out, including Steve Carell's man, who is jaded with businesses and essentially just he's got sort of a small team of I guess it's sort of it's sort of a hit team, like just who are hedging all their bets, and he is sort of jaded with business. He wants to take big business down, essentially.
He hates Wall Street.
Yeah, he hates Wall Street. He's got depression. His brother committed suicide, and he figures out what's going on. We follow a lot more people that are sort of involved in this, and we get to meet Ryan Gosling's man, who is the narrator essentially of this whole thing, and he is the man who is one of the bosses of one of the banks. He has noticed the trend also, and he's getting involved with the whole thing as well. And it's a long, complicated layer of characters and situations, all realising slowly that this is happening, and we are all, we're going to hell, essentially.
Yeah.
Because
so
it's a nightmare.
Yeah. Rather than analyse it critically like we normally would, let's just go about feelings first. When we left this film, how angry were we?
We did the old, walking down the stairs, nice and calm, got at the door, the old walk for about 5 or 10 seconds, then looked at each other, then we're all just like, oh.
My first words were, I really want to go and punch somebody in the face right now.
Yeah.
Presumably a banker, but yeah.
It's just overwhelming anger, like absolute overwhelming anger. I mean, we have felt angry a lot of times, and because of the nature of the show, we say some crap. We say some absolute crap.
We'll probably see some crap in the near future.
In the very near future, yeah. But when it's righteous anger at a good film, you know it's succeeded.
It's incensed us, basically.
Yeah. I mean, when you've got a topic like the 2008 banking crisis, which put over 6 million in America alone out of a job and out of homes, that is enough to make you just bubble with absolute rage and fury because it's greed. It is pure greed, and honestly, I do not think there has been a more infuriating ending to a film ever.
This is the thing about the ending. Okay, at first it was maddening because you thought it was just like, bureaucratic stuff, and everybody was just dumb. Like they're not smart. They just don't know what's going on, which is fair enough. Which is still really stupid and infuriating. But then once you get the ending and you realise that, what happens with bangers and everything, and they actually knew
it was a choice. It was
and
a conscious choice.
And they just literally didn't care.
It
just puts that step above.
They go to a banking conference in LA halfway through the film, and Steve Carell's character sort of confronts one of the head bankers to sort of gauge the situation and see if the bubble's actually going to pop, and if he can sort of get on the back of that and see everything is going to hell or not. And it's just the man who plays the banker it really does, it infuriates you because he's sitting there smug. He is basically the face of the banks essentially for this film. He is just expressing the entire sort of, I don't care, I'm making money, so
that's the turning point. That turns it into just pure rage.
There's intense greed, and then there's just a complete dissolution and irregard for human life.
So where do we stand on Ryan Gosling's character then? Because essentially he is only there to...
He's sort of an anti-hero, really.
He's anti-hero because he's there to make money off the back of, shorting the mortgages, but... it's a difficult one. We're drawn to him because it's Ryan Gosling.
It's definitely, he's a good anti-hero.
He's got the charisma to sort of carry himself and also be sort of charm and rogue.
A good anti-hero, even when they're doing wrong, he's still drawn to them. So.
He felt like a calm, drugless version of Leo in The Wolf of Wall Street, so there was a lot of parallels in that.
Wolf of Wall Street, Wolf of Wall Street with its clothes on, but...
I honestly think this is one of Ryan Gosling's best little performances because he was fun.
Because it's different, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
he's got a reputation now for this sort of quiet, whispery.
I always forgotten he could speak.
Yeah.
But in this he just goes all out, and he's absolutely
hilarious.
The scenes with him and his assistant are just gut-bustingly funny.
Can you smell that? Can you feel that?
But I think,
an opportunity, no money.
I think The Big Short succeeds incredibly in the fact that it takes what is, and it is, to be fair, even to the people who understand it, it is an incredibly complex.
I still don't understand it properly.
There's still bits I don't.
Majorly flawed.
This definitely helps.
System that could have easily been an incredibly boring and dull film, but it manages to be expertly paced. I mean, that soundtrack helps. The narrative style that it chooses basically allows for cutaways to explain some of the more complicated techniques. So there's CDOs, which I'm not even going to bother explaining on the air because that'll just take up time.
Loads of A's and B's.
Lots of abbreviations. But they do things such as, now here's Margot Robbie in a bath,
in a bubble
drinking
bath,
champagne to explain this to you, and it's brilliant. I mean, that could have been extremely irritating, as could Gosling breaking the fourth wall mid-conversation sometimes, but it engages you and it's basically prodding the audience in, you still listening? Listening, and it makes sure you are engaged and following it, and that helps pick up the pace.
You see, it was really clever because before the Margot Robbie bit, I was actually bored, and then it literally cuts to Ryan Gosling saying, "Oh, you're bored? Well, here's Margot Robbie."
Well,
it was really good.
It is a dull topic, and the film doesn't sort of wrap that up entirely, but it makes it incredibly engaging because you see the characters suffering. You've got Steve Carell's character who's clearly on the edge of his tether. You see his bubbling rage. I think he was terrific, and he should have been nominated over Christian Bale for me. But Christian Bale was also terrific because you get to see him. I mean, he's got a glass eye from about a degenerative disease as a kid, I think that was, and he was, you get to see that. I mean, he's got a limp. He's ridiculed by everyone in his office because nobody believes him what he's going to do, and you see, and he's the first one to notice this. So you really get to see him. And then you've got these young upstarts who have just realised that this is going to happen as well, and they're trying to profit. Obviously, you've got the contrast there. And that set of engaging characters and complex characters, some are bad, some are good, some just want to get rich or die trying, essentially. And you get to see them react with the plot of this horrendous banking crash and really engage yourself.
And while still being very, very funny.
And still
which
being
is incredible.
A very witty script.
I was speaking to somebody about Brad Pitt's character. What was it necessary-ish? Was it used to its full potential?
I didn't think it was Brad Pitt.
No,
it didn't distract me. I think it could have been anybody, but I think it was just good to see sort of experience in there, It
was a nice little flourish, as like somebody who's got OCD, there was like the health stuff.
Yeah.
Like a sort of Chris Traeger, Parks and Rec kind of, Rob Lowe kind of character.
Because, and crucially, it involves the characters with the plot, so that's why it succeeded for me.
What is interesting is it's an information dump basically, but presented in an interesting way by the director of Anchorman. And I think that comes through. Like
the worst thing this film could have done is give you a group of thoroughly unlikable characters, but they've given you real people, real human beings,
and then a sort of poignant note to end on, sort of left to hang.
It is the most infuriating ending of the year in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, because you see, it's all happening again. And then it's just the inevitability, isn't it?
Yeah.
We got on the bus, it's like, well, nothing we can do.
If you've got high blood pressure or you were affected by the bank... Okay, if you've got high blood pressure, don't go see it. If you were affected by the banking crash in 2008, I mean, like, this must be like some kind of morgue, like some kind of wake.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when this story sort of broke and it was unbelievable, and then we bailed the banks out. And it doesn't make any sense, but now it it still doesn't make sense. It's just been explained to us, which is really, good. This is a real unexpected hit for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was gonna. It's been out for a while now, so I've heard it was really good. I didn't really believe it.
Witty and creative scripts, smartly directed. Couldn't turn it.
Great camera work. At the start, it gets annoying, but as it plods on, it really gets you into it.
Yeah, it follows a sort of cinema verite kind of fly in the wall.
Absolute congratulations for making that narrative style work. With the cutaways and with the Ryan Gosling like addressing the camera, really works.
So what does Adam McKay, whatever? What does he do next? Because certainly it seems like a waste to go back to sort of screwball Will Ferrell comedies.
It would be a shame if he did that. Then The Big Short.
There is an intelligent filmmaker there, backed up by a good script and obviously good source material as well. This is a really harrowing story, but. I'm interested to see what he does next, and I think Steve Carell, another great performance.
Phenomenal.
He's proven himself to be somebody, not just Michael Scott.
Christian Bale does deserve the nomination, but I would have gone for Carell personally.
And I think Ryan Gosling deserves a lot of praise.
Just great stuff.
It's just great to see him after seemingly quite a long time off the screen.
Yeah.
That's The Big Short. Then we highly
everybody needs to say this.
Yes, I mean it's social justice right there. Like this is what we're all calling for, and it's nominated for Academy Awards. So.
Yeah. Gotta see it.
Fingers crossed to it. When we get back after local music from the Lake Poets, we're going to do Sleeping with Other People, as we all love doing, and a recap of the other films that are in cinema.